Why, hello there, lovely listeners. And did we decide on voluptuous viewers, Lisa?
I think you did.
I did.
I think it fits. Yeah. Yeah. Why not?
Volatile viewers.
I was thinking, what other V's could we
I
go with?
know it's hard, isn't it? A bit of alliteration like that.
Yeah.
But
Vocal viewers.
vocal viewers,
Vocal
hopefully, yeah.
viewers? I
So
don't know.
welcome back down the red rabbit hole. I am best-selling author NV Peacock, otherwise known as Nikki, and of course you've already heard her, so it's no surprise. And can see her. This is
It's
comedian
no
and
surprise
therapist.
she's still here.
No,
She's
she's never
always
leave.
here, hanging
Never leave.
around.
Yeah. So that is Lisa Shepherd. But we do have a
Hello.
guest. Lisa's been out with her sack again, and she has found an amazing author for us tonight.
Have indeed. Did some great hunting.
You did. You did.
Got
So
to
you...
learn to run faster, Will, I'm afraid.
I know, I know. I'm still carrying some holiday weight.
Okay. That was your undoing.
Yeah.
Because here you are down the red rabbit hole with us, Will Carver. Will, how are you?
I am beside myself with joy, despite
You
being
look
down
it.
this hole. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, forgot this is visual as well.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm all right. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Lisa, you're with us?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I've managed Marches. Well, I can't say when time of the year it is, can I?
Yes. Yeah, of course you can. We record in
Am
March. This is
I allowed? We
going out
record in advance, don't
yeah, this
we?
is going out June-ish, I would suggest.
Yeah, so maybe I'll be a bit more relaxed in June, but March, end of the financial year, is kicking my butt. It's not going well.
I think it kind of kicks all our butts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Will, you have come down because you've got a lot of research rabbit holes that you jump down that you want to talk about, some that we're very, very excited about. So, Will, tell us a little bit about yourself and your books.
Okay. I am Will Carver. I write kind of weird stuff. I
Perfect.
I get put in the kind of crime area. I've written a supernatural crime series. I've written about serial killers. I've written about cults. I've written a book where all of the chapters are in questions. I've written a book where it's from the point of view of evil itself. I tend to do kind of crime plus weird,
Okay.
really. My latest one coming out in June, which is now, I believe, um,
Allegedly.
is is called Kill Them with Kindness. It's kind of a pandemic, like an alternate take on the pandemic. A scientist realizes that the government is about to release like a COVID type thing,
Mm.
and he mutates the virus so that instead of making people sick, it makes them nice. Um, so yeah, that's another weird one. I'll see how that does, but preliminary reviews seem okay. Um, yes, but yeah, I kind of like the psychology of
Hmm.
it all, really, rather than kind of procedural stuff. I don't mind reading that, but I don't write it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that a good story can get clogged up in the kind of reality of police procedures and things along those lines. So I'm with you on that. But I'm really curious, what does evil sound like?
Would you know? I, you know how? Have you ever read the book Thief?
Yes,
That's narrated by
by
Death.
death.
I was really kind of, I'd written this whole book, and I thought, it's called Hinton Hollow Death Trip. If you want to go out and get it, it's and I'd written it in reverse. I thought, oh, I'll start with kind of who it is, and then I'll work all the way back to the beginning and say why they did it, and then maybe twist it that it was someone else. And I sent it to a publisher, and they said, "This is too clever," and I was like, "Oh, okay." So I wrote it forward, and I rewrote the whole thing forwards, and it had no tension. It was
Mm.
rubbish.
Hmm.
And see, I've got to bite my tongue. And I got to the end, and I really didn't like it again. And I thought, do you know what? This needs to be narrated by evil itself. So I highlighted all, and I just deleted, and I started again. 98,000 words, just threw them away. And then I started again, and what I wanted was to make evil like this nice guy. He's sick of being evil. He's so tired of the world being evil because it means he has to be even worse because he's evil. So if the world could just be a bit nicer, then he doesn't have to do so many horrible things. Like a really likable character, I think. So yeah,
So,
I don't know the voice in my head. I don't know who the voice is in my head, but
but if you were to cast it as a film, who would narrate as evil? Who would be the actor that you'd pick?
yeah, see, I don't know. I think. You see, you think I'd have an answer for this, but I don't know.
Do
Like
you
who
know
is
what I
the?
was thinking? Richard O'Addy.
Yeah.
He's got quite a good voice, hasn't he?
Would you know? I was thinking who is kind of an English version of Morgan Freeman. That's what I was thinking. So
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
because he's got a very cool
Yeah, he's got a very
voice,
good
hasn't he? And
voice.
yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. I can't think. Who's the British Morgan Freeman? Go.
Oh, Idris Elba, maybe might
Yeah,
be
Gonna
able
maybe.
to do
Yeah,
say,
it,
but
yeah.
but
he's in
he's too
everything. He's
sexy, isn't
busy.
he?
He's
Too
definitely not got
sexy.
any time, has he?
Evil
But
can
he's
be
also in
sexy.
everything.
Yeah.
Mm.
We.
But if he's like the eternal nice guy, maybe. I
Yeah.
mean, you could go David Tennant, maybe,
Yeah,
but
he's good. Love him.
but
Love him.
he's a bit kind of now because he's demonized in Good Omens, isn't he? So
Mm,
Oh,
mm,
yeah. Yeah.
maybe that's typecasting.
yeah, it's difficult.
He's
Maybe
gone
I wouldn't
too
mind like an
evil.
Alan Rickman. Obviously, I can't now, but
Oh,
Alan Rickman,
yeah.
he's good.
That would have been
Oh,
good.
that would have been
Yeah,
really good. I don't know, power of AI.
yeah, I know,
You
yeah,
can't do that.
Might be enough out there,
yeah, yeah.
enough of Alan's voice, because that would. Oh, I would love to hear Alan again.
I
I'd love
What
met
to
if
him
hear
once.
Alan do something
He
again.
was amazing. He was such a lovely guy. I went to see a
Mm.
play, and he was kind of milling about at half time, and I wanted to get his autograph, but I couldn't. But I couldn't find anything that I could write on, and I found a postcard of Rafe Fiennes because it was at the National Theatre. And I asked him if he'd sign a postcard of Ray Fiennes, and he did. He thought it was really funny. Yeah, he was a lovely guy.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, you could go proper. You could go like Simon Pegg, maybe.
yeah, I like Simon Pegg.
Mm.
Yeah, and actually, he's quite quirky, isn't he?
He is, but
So
he can do serious as well. I mean, Hot Fuzz, he was quite serious in that, so I think he's got kind of a,
he's got
he's
more
got
range than we
range.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That we've seen so far. Yeah.
So I think the thing that Lisa is just chomping at the bit to get to is you did a lot of.
Am I?
You
I'm not.
are. You don't look
I'm
like you are,
not.
but
No,
I
I'm
can
not. I'm
feel
just.
it.
It's my slightly. I'll admit I've got a slightly broken chair, so I
Yeah.
can't. I look like I'm lounging, but I don't really have any other option because
You're
otherwise
very tense.
it's either throwing me all the way forward or I'm having.
You're chilling out.
Or
Yeah.
I'm lounging like this. It is a broken desk chair that is causing me issues today.
You can't get the furniture in these rabbit holes, can you?
No,
No,
they're all
Oh,
twigs
absolutely
and
not.
mud.
yeah.
They, they're
Yeah.
it's kind of like IKEA. It just doesn't last. You got to make it yourself, and it doesn't last. And no one knows
Yeah.
how to put it together.
I'm sitting on a wobbly stump. What am I chomping at the bit for? Because I don't know.
So the big one of the big research rabbit holes that Will jumped down for one of his books was cults.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's your. I keep saying that's your Jeopardy topic. If you were ever to go
I
on that
thought it was.
show.
I thought it was Harold Shipman.
Oh
Personally,
yeah,
that was the
Well,
last one you had to go at me about.
weirdly, my cult book was so it's called Nothing Important Happened Today, and essentially it's half like detective trying to figure out about this cult, and half a manual about how to set up your own successful cult. And I looked into so many, but essentially the people are, it's called the People of Choice, this cult in the book, and they receive a letter through the post, and it says nothing important happened today, and they just know what to do. So they at the beginning, 9 people receive this letter. Nothing important happened today. They all meet on Chelsea Bridge. They don't know who anyone is, but they all meet there. They sit there. They tie a rope around their neck, and then they all jump off Chelsea Bridge at the same time. So they're all part of a cult, but no one knows that they're a member until it's too late and they die. And essentially, it's all kind of told in first person from the victims, and they've all got a number, and it's eking ever closer to the amount of people that Harold Shipman has killed. Essentially, yes.
Oh, and what
So
number are you
I don't want to give
going
anything away
with?
because it's my best book. So
Yeah. But
um,
which number are you going with? Because we've had a bit of there's a few numbers actually that are
yeah,
suggested for Harold Shipman. So there's actually the number he was convicted of,
yeah,
then the number from when they sorted through, and that was that really awful process that we talked about in that episode where it wasn't about finding out who he had, it was trying to exclude any that he hadn't.
right,
Like it became the other way round of a process, and then there's kind of the even higher suspected number.
yeah. Oh, I think I went with. What was he convicted for? Like 238 or something? Was that how
No,
many
I
was
think
it?
he was actually only convicted of the 13.
Oh, right. So they
Yeah,
thought, oh,
then
I've
so
gone with the
that's the
other number
top
then.
number, and then I
Yeah,
think there's about 198 or something like that that they'd found that when they looked for all of the deaths that he'd registered when they were trying to isolate the ones that actually weren't a murder by
yeah.
Harold Shipman, and then I think about 216 is like the higher top end, the suspected number, but I don't think anyone actually knows. He
No,
took that
and we
with
might
him, didn't
never
he, when he
really.
went?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh God, a cult that you didn't know that you're in
Yes,
until you're
that's the
kind of
idea.
in it.
Yeah, that was the strapline. How do you stop a cult where nobody knows they're a member or something like that? Um,
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
wow. And do
it's
you
my
do
favorite
you
book, I think.
have
Do I
sorry,
have?
sorry.
Go on. Are you
Do
going to
you
ask me
have
if
a
I have a favorite?
charismatic leader? Because every cult needs a charismatic leader.
Well, exactly. I mean, I looked into so many cults, and there are kind of patterns that you can see, and they have this, the charismatic leader, and then there's always kind of a second in charge that they eventually kind of try to pin everything on, isn't there?
Yeah.
Um, but one of the things I loved, I was I mean, I watched loads and I read loads, and um, what was it? It was the Jonestown massacre.
Yeah.
They were talking to someone who was part of that cult, but didn't end up going to Guyana and whatever. So and she said, no one knows they're in a cult. No one joins a cult. You join a group of people with kind of who are like-minded, who have cool ideas or whatever, and that's what I found really interesting. Like these people weren't like, we're gonna go here and be weird and we're all gonna sleep with the leader or whatever. They just, like Jim Jones was, like you say, super charismatic, and he did a lot in his community in the beginning, and they all tend to get to a point where they become too powerful and too into themselves, and it turns into something sexual a lot of the time, doesn't it? And I
The
just found that
power
really
that
interesting.
corrupts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
And I
exactly.
think they, really ultimately at the heart of it, the people who join a cult, 'cause I think we all kind of think, oh, that wouldn't happen to me. But it
Yeah.
is like you say, it's really everybody as a human being, we need other people, we need relationships, we want to belong somewhere, and we'll go and seek that out.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you say, it never starts that way. But then once you're in, there'll be various mechanisms to keep you in. I don't know because I've also listened to some podcasts with, and it was somebody who had escaped from Jonestown, had got away in the flight just before they went.
All
So there
right.
was a flight that went down, and some of them were killed, but they were the ones trying to get away. And I listened to an interview with someone from there, and that was absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
And what a what a narrow escape, really, from something, but how hard and how difficult it was, and the relationships in that as well. So like the family, you're so entrenched
Yeah.
that your whole family is involved.
But it's weird, and you see people leave their family members in there and get out, and their family won't go with them, and they have to kind of wrench themselves away from their mum or their brother or whatever, and it's mad, and you see them talk about the people who get out. You see them talk about it afterwards, and they say all awful things that happen, but also there's something in them that feels like they can't say too much that's horrible about the person who led it. It's like they're
Yeah.
still in their trance. It's just it's
I
really interesting
watched
psychologically. Yeah.
I watched one last night. I think it was called The Cult Next Door or the very British cult. And I think it's quite old. Have you seen it? I think it's quite old, but for various reasons, I was limited on what I could watch stuff on last night. So I thought I want to watch something about cults to prepare. And I
As
found
usual.
this one on BBC, and it was basically this guy and his wife living in their flat with all these women. And they'd started out with like about 19 or something, kind of back in the 70s, and it had slowly dropped off. And eventually, I think it was in 2013, they rescued three women who had basically been held there, human kind of slaves, really. And one of them was born there. So she'd been born to another woman who'd previously been there who had tried to escape and not survived her escape attempt. And when they met her, she was in her 20s, but she was like a child, like a little girl, because she'd never
Yeah.
gone to school. They'd never let her outside of anything. She was completely lived by, and he told them that he was in charge of a machine called Jackie, and that Jackie could control everything. So
Wow.
so he'd say like, say there was a flood somewhere, he'd turn around and go, "That's because that pizza guy knocked on our door and disturbed us the other day. That's why that flood's there. Jackie did it." And of course, it
Wow.
sounds ridiculous, but when you're in it,
Yeah. Well,
it's totally. But the women, some of the interviews they had, the girl had come and was interviewed for the show and was talking to them, for the documentary. But there was some of the other women who'd escaped who just was still in it. That one of them said, "Oh, I knew it wasn't right for Katie, and we wanted to get her out, but." Kind of in their heart of hearts, I think they still believed. And I think actually life inside was better than life
yeah.
after.
Well, it's interesting to see the ones that are, some if they have a religious angle, I can see why people go for it.
Mm.
With David Koresh or whatever. Oh my God, while I was researching that book, I watched a 9-hour documentary on Waco. It's brilliant.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely, it was amazing. But
I've seen that.
but it's I can't even remember the name of the cult, but they all thought that at some point, like, they were all going to be taken away on a spaceship, and then when
Yeah.
that date didn't come, they all just topped themselves. And it's like, oh wow, what's going on here? But have you seen the one? Oh, it's got the twin flames.
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah.
But that is kind of preying on 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 people. That's really dirty, because I don't think it's come from a place that was good to begin with. Whereas I think kind of
Mm,
even Jonestown, I think, like, he was a pastor, and it started somewhere where people had nice ideas, and then it devolved or whatever. And but that just was exploitative from the beginning. So I think that's a really dirty side of the cult, and I think we're seeing that more with that NXVM as well. Is that what they're called? Like
Mm.
a sex cult thing.
yeah,
The woman from Smallville was in it. What
Yeah.
was? Yeah,
yeah,
Who knew? And a lot of other
yeah.
actresses. And
yeah.
they all got brand. It's like, at what point when you're getting branded, are you not thinking ahead here as
I
to
know.
what's happening to you?
I've
But I
been
think
branded once, and it was the
And
last
then it
time.
was
It was the
enough. Yeah.
last time. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Brand
think
me once, shame on
yeah,
you. Brand me
yeah,
twice, shame on me.
yeah.
it's like Jackie, though. It's like an
I know.
all-encompassing robot who is in control of things. It's easy for us to look at it from the outside and think that would never be us. But I think, there's a brilliant podcast and she talks and interviews a lot of people who have kind of escaped cults and things like that. And it's that really kind of gentle easing in that you kind of don't see it happening. And like you say, Will, they have nice ideals. They want to help people. They want to, they want to feel that they belong. They find this nice community, and then kind of slowly but surely it goes in a different direction. I mean, there's the one at the moment about the dancers. I don't know if you've seen.
I've
I can't
seen
remember
that.
what the
Yeah, yeah,
documentary's called with the TikTok dancers. Kept coming up on my feed after that. I was getting a bit like, oh no,
yeah.
I can't dance. Don't try and get me.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm of no use to you.
But that was really sad, because the sisters were like super close, weren't they? And then one of them went off, but they were kind of saying that they could make you famous and things, and don't know. I don't know. That's another. That's another gross one for me. That's an
Mm.
exploitative
Would
one. But I
they?
do think that, like, I mean, in this age of kind of social media, people, I feel like everyone has kind of two personas. They've got their real life one and their online one. And I think there's so many more people crying out to find out who they are that it's really easy to get them into something like this. I think we could see a cult epidemic. You know, I just yeah.
Definitely. I mean, they use some really insidious psychological techniques to like bring people in. Like they love bomb, don't they, to begin with?
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
And they deliberately go out their way to find people that are lonely, that are vulnerable, especially that have stuff that they want if they're looking for any kind of financial angle as well. And it really is. It's it's targeting the kind of the people that do need help, and it's horrific a lot of the time. But I tell you what, I do wonder though, because Will, you've done so much research into the subject. Do you think you could start a cult?
yeah.
Do you think you
I
know
do.
enough now?
I do. Yeah, I do. And you know, sometimes when I am kind of talking, you know, my pulpits, I do think, you know,
Your pulpit.
yeah, yeah, when I'm on my podcast and I'm talking about how I feel about things, you know, and people message me, I'm like, oh, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's so easy to find people now, though, surely that are feeling low or you know they need something. Whereas before it was they had to turn up at church or your village hall or whatever to find them, they would find you. Whereas now you can actively go out and say, are you lonely? You know, do
Mm.
you want to find your one true love? Because everyone does, right? Everyone wants that or something close to that. And yeah,
And with the digital world,
Yeah.
as you know, a very recent program on television has kind of highlighted, you're into the space, you're into someone's bedroom, you're into
mm,
their, you know, you're there, you've got open access to them all the
yeah,
Yeah.
time through social media, through the phone, through, you know, you're kind of right in there. You know, if you're going out, you might be putting on a layer of, you know, you're this person outside, you're kind of preparing yourself for the outside world. But when it's like on there, you're just, you know, you're much more vulnerable, I think, on social media or when, you know, at a computer than
it's just so
if you were
easy
to walk in
to
somewhere.
find anyone now. I just wrote a book about frogging. Have you heard of frogging?
Hmm.
And it's
I've
basically
not. What's
it's
frogging?
like pH frogging with a pH.
Yeah.
It's essentially breaking into someone's house and living there without them knowing that you live there.
Yeah. So
And
like living in the
So that
attic or the basement or something, and then coming up when they've gone out.
yeah,
it's,
and while I was
it's
researching
a
that, I
bit
was
like
like,
cuckooing, but you know, a bit more quietly,
Yeah.
like
what's
a bit more
cuckooing?
underhanded. Oh my
What's
gosh.
cuckooing?
Okay, sorry.
What is that?
Cuckooing is like a gang kind of thing where they'll go and find somebody vulnerable and then they'll kind of take over their house and their flat
Ah,
and
right.
then usually start using that as a base of operations for running drugs or things like that.
God, yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
literally
So it's
like
like that,
a
but they don't
cuckoo
know. Yeah,
kicking them
yeah.
out the nest. Yeah.
Yeah, but when I was researching that, I was thinking like, how easy would it be for me to find out, you know, where one of Taylor Swift's houses are? And I thought, oh, I'll go on a dig, and you know, there's a few things you can do, and you can look at things online and images, but you find articles, and then I found out who sold her house and who had lived in it before, and then I found out, and then I zoomed in on Google Earth, and I found one of her houses, and I was like, it's so easy to do it. I mean, so it would be so easy to find all of these people that you might be able to indoctrinate into your cult or whatever. Yeah.
Is Taylor downstairs now? Do you
Yeah.
She's
think do you think she'll come up and guest for us? Do you think
she's
you
in the
can
loft. She frogs me.
She
She's
Oh,
frogs
yeah,
does
you.
she? Oh,
yeah, yeah,
of course.
yeah.
Being frogged by Taylor Swift.
I know, yeah.
I feel like that's the title of your memoirs, Will.
Indeed. Yeah. I was frogged. Yeah.
Was
I
frogged
mean,
by Taylor Swift.
we talked about this before, like algorithms with search engines. I mean, that are just automatic. They can induct, you know, they can catch someone completely just on an algorithm. You look for one thing, like twin flame, for example, and
Yeah.
that cult will then constantly come up on your feed. So you can, radicalize yourself without even realizing it. And Google's doing it for you.
Yep.
No one's behind that. No human is behind that.
You don't
Yeah,
even
well,
need
I
to look
didn't
them up, do you?
I
You
didn't
just
even
look
realize
up
that, like,
looking for love. How do I find someone? We're all searching for the thing that we're worrying about.
yeah, we're not going down the pub and meeting someone anymore. Do you remember those days?
Yeah.
No.
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 Do you know, I've just realized in this top, I didn't, until I turned the camera on, didn't realize I look like a 1980s barmaid.
It's a good look.
You
It's a
pull it
good
off
look.
though.
Yeah.
It looks
Do
good.
I?
Yeah,
Thankfully.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought this through,
yeah.
as always.
You look voluptuous for our viewers.
Voluptuous.
Voluptuous. Yeah, I think I made that word up, didn't I?
I
Did
think
I just
you
make that
did.
up?
I like it though.
Gone for another
Yeah.
V. Can't, because she couldn't think of any V, so she just made one up. Why
Yeah,
not?
Did it on
It
the fly.
works. It works.
Yeah. Well, we are coming to the end of this episode, but we are keeping Will, aren't we, Lisa?
Yeah.
I'm still tied up.
What do you want for breakfast
I'll
for the
just have
week that you're down here? What would you like?
just anything I can dip into hummus is fine.
Oh, that's okay.
And what's Taylor? What does Taylor generally have for breakfast?
I'll pop up to the attic in the break.
Check.
I just want to know. I want to hear that Taylor Swift eats Cocoa Pops for her breakfast. That's what I want to know. That's what I want to be told.
Well, if she
That
doesn't,
likes
she's
Rice
doing it
Krispies
wrong.
so she can hear them pop. Yeah.
But yes, Will is going to stay with us, and on our next episode, we're going to talk about the serial killer research that he's done for another one of his amazing books. So it's just left for me to say goodbye, listeners, and remember to follow the Red Rabbit wherever you get your socials. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Patreon, and also now YouTube. So give us a like, give us a follow. Do you like that? My thumbs didn't really come in.
I see that becoming a meme.
Wow.
That's going to be a brilliant meme.
You think?
YouTube.
Give us a thumbs up. And do follow us. It doesn't cost you anything to follow us on any of these platforms. So and it means a lot to us, doesn't it, Lise?
It does indeed.
We're not mad on our own.
Well, I was thinking the other day though, because a series that has recently come out that everybody's talking about at the moment is Adolescence, and they were talking about what the different emojis mean. And of course, on our socials, we always have a rabbit and a red and a hole, and two of those are on the list for emojis that mean something else
Ooh.
in regard to young people and risk. So I almost feel like, we might need to put something out there about. We were just saying follow the red rabbit hole. That's what we were trying to say with our emojis. There's nothing else going on here.
Yeah, see, I quite often put a rabbit and a knife. That's probably wrong too.
God.
Don't worry. After this, Will let us know what his cult emojis are, so that we can start putting those out.
That's something you can
and
think about.
increasing the following.
Yeah.
Because now you're number one, I'm number two. You're the
Yeah.
fool girl.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, Will.
Yeah, you're number one.
Yeah.
You're number one. Yeah, your Will's number one.
No, that's a lot of work. I can't take that on right now. It's a commitment I'm just not ready for.
Where's your commitment? Oh.
I know I'll just pass it on to someone else. It's fine. I'll be the face. Someone else does the work. That'll be okay with me. So thank you, Will, for being with us and staying with us. And we will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.